All right, welcome back, Gator listeners, to more UHD at the movies. So, because it's October, I wanted to go ahead and add some ghost related movies. So, up next is Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, Ghostbusters Afterlife was released on November 19th, 2021, and the film is a science fiction comedy and a sequel reboot of the original Ghostbusters from 1984. Ghostbusters Afterlife deals with the grandchildren of the Harold Ramis character from the original movie, Egon Spengler. After his death, his grandchildren attempt to solve the mystery that cost Egon his life. Through the course of the investigation, the kids also pick up the mantle of the Ghostbusters. Somerville, Oklahoma serves as the film's main setting, a small farm town filled with mostly ordinary people. Callie Spengler, played by Carrie Coon, moves into her late father's home with her two children, Trevor and Phoebe, played by Finn Wolfhard and McKenna Grace. While at first the town seems boring, the kids soon find that Somerville is a paranormal hotspot. Ghosts inhabit an old mine that was constructed years before by the fanatical cult of Gozer. The cult worships the pagan deity Gozer, the main villain from the 1984 version of the Ghostbusters film. Phoebe finds and restores the Ghostbusters' old traps, ghost detectors, and proton packs. Their proton packs are kind of like these electric guns that they use to take ghosts down. They're pretty cool. Trevor fixes up the converted ambulance Ecto-1, the Ghostbusters equivalent of the Batmobile. So it's pretty much the Ghostbusters mobile. The appropriated ride and gear enable the kids to start their own supernatural investigation. The performances in the film are well acted. The kids do a great job of anchoring the story, and the new characters are believable and unique. Paul Rudd portrays the town's uninterested science teacher who quickly changes his attitude when the kids bring him Somerville's spectral evidence. Paul Rudd's character, Gary Gruberson, is the hilarious standout in Ghostbusters Afterlife. His idea of proper teaching techniques show him screening horror movies for his class. Cujo and Chucky are both included on the class syllabus. Gruberson is old enough to have actually remembered the Ghostbusters when they were practicing paranormal business. He also serves as a mentor for Phoebe, who immediately recognizes the seismic project he's working on. Gruberson eventually starts dating Phoebe and Trevor's mother. Ghostbusters Afterlife was directed by Jason Reitman, who is also known for his films Juno and Up in the Air. Reitman's father, Ivan, produced and directed the first Ghostbusters film, as well as Ghostbusters 2 in 1989. It was a sweet notion to have the multi-generational series be produced and directed by Reitman's son. By keeping the franchise in the family, the resulting film is genuine and sincere. What works really well in the film is the way that the filmmakers honored the source material while creating their own story. Afterlife acts to both continue the story of the original film while leaving the door open for sequels. This reboot sequel is similar to what the Jurassic World series did for the successful dinosaur films. Many callbacks to the original exist in Afterlife. Expect plenty of Easter eggs in the form of Twinkies and troublesome anthropomorphic Stay Puft marshmallows. The special effects in the film look fantastic. The effects never become a distraction and seamlessly allow for the suspension of disbelief. The dog beasts resurrected from the '84 version are some of the coolest creatures in the film. It's definitely great to see the creatures return in what looks like a mix of practical and special effects, just like in the original Ghostbusters. Computer graphics have since replaced the stop-motion claymation done at the time. And without spoiling who does return from the original film, I'd say the worst thing to say about Ghostbusters Afterlife would be the lack of a Rick Moranis cameo. Moranis played the character Louis Tully in both of the first two films, though he has long since retired in order to raise his kids after his wife's untimely death. Moranis is still active in drama, though, and he does so now as a college professor in his native Canada. The film was written by both Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis. Ghostbusters Ramis died in 2014 when the Ghostbusters sequel was still mired by pre-production issues. I did hear some interesting stuff about this Ghostbusters film while it was in pre-production. I heard that they were going to make it fully animated. And then I heard at one point Bill Murray was going to star in the film, but he was going to die halfway through and they were going to bring him back in the form of a ghost. I heard all sorts of very interesting stuff for the Ghostbusters sequel, but I was really happy with the reboot that we were eventually given. So Harold Ramis's character was the brains behind the whole Ghostbusters operation. Ivan Reitman and Ramis collaborated regularly in films and were close friends. Ramis knew Jason Reitman well. It was definitely fitting that the director allows Ghostbusters Afterlife to provide Ramis both a proper send-off and a deeply touching tribute. This entertaining and emotional film is worth seeing. And by providing history through online videos, the audience quickly gets caught up to the story. So what's interesting is the kids go to their teacher and start talking about some of the Ghostbusters stuff, and he says, oh no, like these people actually existed in the 80s. And he pulls up YouTube videos showing them that the Ghostbusters did in fact exist in New York. It definitely allows Ghostbusters to kind of function as a standalone film, so there's no homework required, although the 84 version is a classic and not to be ghosted, I would say. Ghostbusters Afterlife is available to rent through streaming.